はい、皆さん、こんにちは。私、株式会社ワコム。
Hello, everyone. I am leading the Wacom XR product and business development. My name is Fujioka. I will be acting as the moderator for today's session. For those who are at the venue and also participating online, thank you very much for your attendance. At this session, potential of VR creation and VR pen for 3D CG figure modeling, that's the title of this session. Actually, how the VR is used for the workflow and also the potential of Wacom VR pen, how this can be utilized. We would like to look into the potential of that with two sculptors as guests today would like to go on as a talking session. So now would like to introduce the presenters from ICREA. We have Matsura-san and Soga-san. Please give them a great applause. So now before going into the main topic, can you please introduce yourselves? Firstly, from Matsura-san. This is Matsuda. Nice to meet you. Myself, movable figures, deformed figures, or jewelry molds. I am creating prototypes using PCs. In my previous job, I was creating costumes for heroic programs. The analog modeling experience, I am utilizing that for the digital modeling these days. Thank you. Soga-san, please. I am creating digital prototypes by using 3D softwares. My name is Hatsuki Soga. Normally, I am making beautiful girls figures or scale figures from animation. The 2D characters, I am bringing them to the 3D world. As shown on the picture, clay sculptures, or in order to incorporate into the workflow, I am conducting research on that, studying that, but also to improve my ability. I am working on these as well, but in actuality, for the workflow, I am working on a digital style. Thank you. So we'd like to go into the main topic. For those at the venue or for those participating online, probably there are many people who do not know what the model sculptors do. So before going into VR, from Matsuda-san, can you please let us know what is the workflow for your normal work as a model sculptor? I have summarized this in this slide. This is the CG modeling process of our original character of our company. Please go to the next slide. In many cases, the figure manufacturers will be giving orders and we will start the work. The material that we get at the start can be just one picture or it could be the setting for the animation. And based on the information or material, firstly, we will start the modeling of the body model. And after that, in the 3D space, what will it look like by doing the posing? We will do some provisional posing. And once the posing is done, by discussing with the manufacturers who have given the orders, we'll be discussing or supervising to set up the direction. And when the posing is approved, okay, then we'll look into the small accessories like the clothes, etc. And we call that rough modeling. And once that is done, we will talk again with the manufacturer and we'll be supervising. And then we'll look into the very details like the hair or the wrinkles, etc. And the information from the illustration that have been given initially when once done as a 3D form, we will have the supervision of the publisher as well. And once there is an okay given, then we will conduct a provisional output and will see in actuality that it does not differ from the modeling procedure. And when that is regarded as okay, then we will get ready to mass produce the figures, dividing them into parts, and will be manufacturing the parts so that they can be built up, assembled together. And that part is where the digital modeling or digital sculpture will be kicking in. And the next page, once the prototype is given okay as a data, this will be output and will be polishing or cleaning up on a manual basis. Unlike the provisional output, there will be some more detailed setting. And once there is this output done on a production basis by the 3D printer, there will be polishing done, not just polishing the surface, but the very fine edges or the very small wrinkles on the clothes, etc. Those are to be looked into and supervised. And once that is done, the prototype will be completed and will be approved. But after the prototype is completed, there are still some work to be done. These prototype, only one in the world, cannot go to the factories on its own. So we will be making some copies, and these copies will be colored and will be passed on to the factories for mass production. And that is the time when the prototype work has been completed. So that's how I do this work. Thank you very much for the explanation. As had been explained, when I first heard about it, I asked some questions to deepen my understanding. There are many times that you conduct supervising. The frequency is more than we had thought. So this supervising, what's the most difficult part of supervising? And also, are there cases where you have to repeatedly go through the process in the supervising process? Firstly, once the pausing is done and the supervising is to be done, there could be some tough work there. That is because what's most attractive on the illustration, we start the work from there. But when that is turned into 3D, what will be the most attractive form? We look at it for the first time. This pause will be so attractive, but may not look good by looking from the back. So sometimes we have to do much work in that process. And at the same time, there is this last part of the supervision work by the publisher, etc. Once all the parts are ready, we will get the publisher's supervision, and we talk about some of the very detailed information, like we did this for the pausing, etc. Unless we do that, we have to reverse the process, like change 5 millimeters, 1 millimeters. So that work is also sometimes really tough. We have to spend a lot of work on that. So you will be given pictures from various directions, but among them, you will have to create the pausing for the 3D, and it takes time for that. Yes, discussions, or to have them think that it gives the impression of the picture itself. We'll have to work on it for a long time sometimes. But sometimes it may not look as though it shows on the picture. There are some pictures that are written just on a 2D basis, not thinking about 3D. So, but you were trying to complete it as a 3D figure. like for example, if the model has like a long cane, then it could be longer than expected or thinner than expected. There could be some unnatural impression that you might get. So when you actually touch it by your hand, there needs to be natural feeling.
Thank you very much. And after making the digital model, then actually the 3D ones is made and the publisher's supervision is passed, then the prototype is completed, right? Thank you very much. And now the current digital modeling process is now been explained, and based on the digital modeling as a prerequisite, and in what part of the digital modeling can we apply VR? That is what we would like to discuss next. And ICREA creators, including yourselves, visited Wacom office, and by using VR devices, Gravity Sketch, the software, you experience them as well, and also VR prototype tool that we are developing is also touched by your colleagues, and we took a video at the time, and so we would like to run that video, and we would like to hear your impressions on that experience. And at that time, on the video, and Matsuura-san touched the VR before, and Soga-san was touching the VR for the first time. And Soga-san, this was your first experience of using VR too. What was your impression? It's very new to me. In a non-real world, if I move something, then I was able to draw a line, and my action and its reflection was very exciting to me. So Matsura-san used a different software from the one that you used before. What was your impression? And it was very fun. In my previous work, not figure, but a very large human size model is what I dealt with. So it's a different experience. And I was surprised that you used this for the first time, but you are sensitive to the size as a modeler. So once you learned how to use it, then you were able to make models one by one. And that was surprising to me. So I hope that you experience the benefits of VR after using this. And are there any part of the workflow that you can apply VR? And I felt that space recognition was easy. For example, the long hair flowing in the air, or the clothes was flowing in the air. In 3D, we need to recognize the space. Otherwise, we cannot express those things. But space recognition was easy. And ZBrush, and these are 3D soft, but on the two-dimensional screen, it was difficult to recognize the depth on 2D, right? In 2D, paths can be applied, but the actual path that we can see is different, the one from the one on the screen. So the on the screen and the real world one are different. So if something looks good on data, but once that is output, then the output one looked different from the one that was on the screen. So the making model in virtual world could reduce such a difference, I thought. And what was your impression, Matsura-san? And this time, in what you made, based on that, what was your impression? I wanted to make a human-size model, many at home by using this function. As Soga-san mentioned, the difference between the one we can see on screen and the real one is recognized on our own sense, but by using this one, we can check whether there are no difference between virtual and real one, so that I think that we can make more efficient work. So even based on your experience, there could be a difference in sizing between virtual and real. Yes, and I'm confident in 80%, but I cannot say that 80% is okay. So for my confidence, if I can make use of this, then I can check to make sure there are no difference in sizing between virtual and real one. So probably Soga-san, in the initial posing or in early stage, you think you can apply VR? Do you think so? And in the state of rough, the placing object in space, for that part, maybe we can make use of VR, but for detail making, probably the current software that I'm using right now should be used instead of this one. Thank you. And for supervision, getting the approval from the publisher, for that part, is this 3D modeling applied? Can it be applied? Well, manufacturers and client, if they can make use of this, then that would be good. I would like to share the feeling that temporary output is not necessary if we can check this with this software, so that the client and publisher can be reassured by using this. So depending on the software, the different people can join the same virtual world, even if they are in a separate places. And then if the rework is done together on a real-time basis, then that would be better. Yes, I hope that the client put the red color correction points on the screen that we are sharing remotely. Okay, thank you very much. And in the current workflow, where can the VR be applied? And two of you and ICREA colleagues also tried prototype Wacom tool, and VR workflow is not so much penetrated among creators. And once the penetration rate increases, then probably you may want to have different tools. And I would like to hear your requirements. That's why we provided opportunity for you to explain the VR world. So here, the VR pen of Wacom was used. And what was your impression at the time? Matsura-san, please. The devices are small. The points were small so that I can pinpoint the point that I wanted to go. And also, this is quite precision, so small detail, fine line, flows are a good application for this. Soga-san, what's your impression? It's easy to hold the pen. And the pointer are well reflected in the point that I wanted to go. That was great. So in terms of the pointer, in a VR world, with your existing device, a large controller is used and then ink comes out from the controller. But in our case, a more intuitive experience is given. Is that right? Yes, in my experience, the ink comes out from the point that I want the ink to come out. So in the previous device, that didn't happen. But in Wacom's pen, the ink point is the point that I wanted to have actually.
That's good to hear. And the VR pen, and those VR pen mode and VR tablet mode, it was shown in a different video as well, but the tablet to be used in the VR, that kind of mode was also tested. We think the tablets, when supervised by the publisher writing characters, that could be used, but how do you think the tablet mode can be utilized? If it were myself using it, I will first be looking into the dimension on the desk and using the device afterwards. And the illustration team staff, which also went to experience this, they were saying that they want to utilize for illustration purposes as well. How about you, Soga-san? The VR space, maybe the original picture can be posted to the VR space, and there you might be able to draw in whatever you want to in the VR space. That could be really convenient. And also, you have the picture at the back, and then at the front you have the VR items, so you can combine the two to come up with some other artwork. And the modeling that you have been working on in the 2D world, do you think the sense or the feeling that you get might also differ? Actually, when I look at the VR space, it's like the space is going to be extended indefinitely. So that really gives me comfort. Right. Normally, you're just looking at the monitor and tablet at your hand, but all of a sudden, with this software, you will have space, so wide space, indefinite space. So that could be surprising. And you can also draw into that or write into that, which I am normally doing. So that gives me so much comfort. Thank you. So as you have mentioned, for those who are working on 2D, and for those who are using the pens on a daily basis, how we can bring that feel of use to the 3D space. That's what we're always thinking about, and having heard from you too as well, that's really encouraging for us. And here we're having a discussion for after you have experience using these devices, there were some discussions done, and the device itself, or in the discussion, were there any comments on the device itself or what needs to be improved, etc.? I think the size of the hand, right, my hand is smaller, so the larger size device to touch the button, that was quite of a hard work. So the size of the device, actually we're also focusing on that point. The weight or the size of the device, how do you think about it? it is true that if I were to use it for work, I will be handling it like several hours per day. So if lighter, it's better. And if it's like using a pen, if it does not differ from what I do on the pen tab, that would be good. So you two will be having pen tabs for like several hours per day. Yes, we do some exercise, but that's true. We hold the pen for several hours. I think I hold the pen tab longer than a ball pen. So you're really accustomed to digital. Yes. So Wacom VR originally handling pen tablets, but we're trying to get more into the VR world. So as a tool shop, is there anything that you want Wacom to work on even further? When I start to use software, firstly, rather than working on the modeling, whether good at modeling or not, firstly, I have to learn about how to use the software. But when the button is different depending on the device, then you have to start finding out where the button is. So if the device from Wacom, whatever software you purchase, the location is fixed. If that's the case, that's really user friendly. Not have to learn about the software, but you can concentrate on modeling. So the way to input to be common among all software, that would be really great. How about Soga-san? Easy to grip handle and lighter to carry around. I think that's really good for me. Thank you. So this VR pen, we're still in the development stage. Going forward, the VR creation itself, we want the creators to know how good it is, how attractive it is. We would like to get into that stage. So today, we're running out of time actually, but going forward, ICREA or other creators, we would like to expand the use of VR creation. That's what Wacom wants to do. So we're running out of time now, so would like to conclude this session. It was only 30 minutes, so we could not go in further that much, but we would like to conclude the session. Soga-san and Matsura-san, thank you so much for coming today out of your very busy schedule. Thank you. That is all for this session. Thank you.